Okay, so we are on air now. Hi guys, welcome to our channel. Myself, Aviru Bhattacharya. I have my friend with me, Sourav. So we thought of making a presentation to you about real estate ownership. I both of us we work for in IT industry, and Saurav has experience in buying, investing in real estate and owning one. And I never invested in any real estate, and I have never owned one. So we wanted to share our experiences, like why I haven't owned any real estate and why he owned, and what is his actually experience after owning the real estate, so that whoever wants to buy his first flat, they know what are they getting into. So without further ado, let me share my screen so that I can show you our perspectives. Saurav, you can see my let me know if you can see my screen.
Okay.
Can you?
Yeah, it's like
Okay. So my first point is price. In any prime location, wherever our jobs are, in all the prime locations in city, the prices of real estate are like touching the sky. I never found any good flat under which is around 1,000 square foot under 40 lakhs or 50 lakhs, right? So that is my first point of real estate investing. Like when I was back in Kolkata, I never had the money for the down payment. Like they were asking for 5 or 6 lakhs. I never had that amount of money for down payment in the first place. I had to borrow money from my father, which I did not want to do. That is why that was my first impediment. Second impediment was, even if say I take the money from my father and make a down payment, then it's like 30 lakhs of debt or something like that, and you get stuck to the debt, and it's a new flat being developed. And in Kolkata, wherever you look at, and this is very infamous nowadays, like Gurgaon or whichever city you live in, that the promoters promise you one date for the under construction projects. I'm specifically talking about, and they never deliver the flat to you by that date, because mostly because most of the projects are not RERA approved, and RERA is the latest law on real estate. We can definitely make another show explaining RERA to you in future. For now, just know that RERA is the latest central government bill protecting the real estate investors or the buyers. So if your project is not covered by RERA, even if you are not covered by any law, right? Your promoter can promise you that they are going to deliver the project in March 2019, and they do not give you the project, the flat to you, and you can basically do nothing because you are not protected by the law. So that is second reason. Third reason is a job, right? It's I if you are anything like me, I want to quit my job as soon as possible. So you get stuck to a EMI or easy monthly payment option, and you basically get stuck for 20 years to that loan. If you can prepay the loan or something, I think there is a fee for that. But anyway, if you cannot prepay your loan, you're basically stuck for 20 years or 30 years or whatever tenure of that loan is. Then I have seen less flexibility. You own a house or flat in Kolkata, you get a better opportunity in a different city or different country. Just because you have a house or flat, you will not feel like, I mean, it's a basically it will chain you down. It's like you don't want to move away from your flat, then who will take care of it? Something bad might happen or things like that, right? And even if you think about getting some tenants, like you want to rent it out, then still you don't know how they are going to take care of your flat. They might break some switches or whatever, right? Then comes return on investment. I spent say 50 lakhs, and basically after giving all the very rough calculation about home loan, is that whatever your home loan is, like 25, if your home loan amount is 25, So you end up paying at the end of the loan period, you end up paying 50 lakhs at minimum. Sort of, we'll talk more on that. I just wanted to give you a hint. So you pay 50 lakhs for the flat you bought for 25 lakhs, and then there are multiple other charges that you pay. So historically in US, real estate investment gives you 2% return. In India, it's around 5-6%. We can do a breakup, or there are multiple videos available on YouTube how the return on investment is on real estate is not good. You can watch those as well. So that is my another worry, that if I can make 7% or 8% on my FD, I do not need to buy a real estate and make 5-6%. I basically miss out 2%. And yes, I am talking about the even after the appreciation. If you can sell your house, whatever appreciation you can pocket in, I am calculating after that gain only, because you pay taxes and there are thousand other fees you pay along way. Then last point is liquidity. Real estate is not a liquid asset, uh, you- because if you want to sell your flat today, you cannot find a buyer tomorrow. First of all, if your flat is really expensive, there are very limited number of buyers who can afford your flat. Say if your flat is 1 crore, there are very limited numbers of buyer who will be willing to pay that amount of money to you for a used flat. Just because, I mean, most of the people, they cannot afford a 1 crore flat in India. That's what I think. You guys can disagree with me, but otherwise the proven fact is the liquidity is very limited. If you want to sell your flat today, you cannot find a buyer tomorrow. You will have to negotiate, and finding a buyer is another problem. That is why essentially I haven't purchased my flat, or real I haven't invested in real estate. But please remember, I have a house. It's not my house, my parents house in Calcutta. So my situation is different, and you might not have any house in Calcutta, so your situation will be different. So I am definitely not asking you to not buy a flat. Definitely you should think about your situation, then go ahead about with whatever you have in your mind. Anyway, so saying that, now I will hand over to Saurav, who basically has purchased flat. He owns real estate, and he can give you an idea or share his experience. Saurav, over to you. I'm going on mute, so you can go ahead. I will let you know if I cannot hear you.
Okay, thank you. So, hello guys. This is Sourav myself. I'll explain the experience, good and bad, that I had while purchasing my own small flat. Uh, I'll explain you point wise. The number one point that I feel is when you are taking a flat on loan, you have to ensure that you are sharing a lot of document with the lending institution. It could be a bank, could be a non-banking institution. So the financial documents that you need to furnish when you are taking a loan, if you are a salaried person, you need to provide your form 16, you need to provide your salary slips for 3 months, you need to give at least 6 months bank statement where your salary is credited, you need to give your permanent address, you need to give references, people who know you, and also there will be verification done in your office and home, maybe with the neighbors, to understand how many years you are staying in that particular place. Maybe it's a rented house also, they will do verification before you buy a flat. That is the first thing that I know. The second thing is, say suppose in our generation, we don't stick with one job for very long. So what we do is we change companies. Say suppose you are changing your employment from company A to company B, you need to inform those updates to your banking institution. And it also includes, say, suppose if you are unfortunately get laid off, or you are retired, you already retired, or the date for your retirement is coming up very soon. You need to inform that information to the bank as well. Like, say, suppose we got in news, there was news about a company which was giving voluntary retirement to people who have been in that company for a very long time. It was a voluntary retirement. In fact, the company was paying at least 4 to 6 months salary, but though it was a shocking news for the employees. So in those situations also, you need to inform the bank. The second thing is, when you are taking a loan, side by side the bank will try to push you to uh, take insurance for your loan. Insurance is because we recently saw that in Kerala we had very devastating flood in the last 100 years. They are saying they have not seen that kind of flood. So some damage which happens to your property or your flat, mm, that can be covered up through the insurance. In the time when your property is mortgaged to a banking institution, any damage done or happens to your property, that can be fixed by the insurance. Bank is not going to pay for the insurance, you are supposed to pay for the insurance. I'm coming to the uh, figures, the money part, in the next slide. The next thing is the duration of loan. uh, uh, Say, suppose if you are taking the loan uh, for a very long time, like 20 years. I mean, you probably uh, know there are many websites where we can figure out how much EMI we need to pay, or what would be the loan structure looking like after a couple of years. So we will be seeing in the next slide that when we are taking a loan for 20 or 25 years, say suppose we are taking a loan for 25 lakh, the price of the flat at the end of 20 years uh, goes almost around double the amount of the cost of the flat. But when you are selling the flat, when it's a second hand flat or a resale flat, you will not get the exact price. I mean, there is a price difference, of course everybody will agree with me, because there is a price difference between a new flat and a resale flat. You may have done a lot of interior decorations and lot of good things you have may have attached in the flat, but that will not give you the exact return, the market return, I would say. The next thing is, say suppose you are making any alteration to your property, you need to inform the lender. Because if it's a house and you have a house which is a one-storied house and you want to improve it to two-storied house, you need to inform that to the bank. Even though you are not taking any financial help from the bank or the financial institution, you need to inform them about the change, because a lot of things like the the plan of the property, the sanction getting, I mean, you need to get a sanction from municipality. These, there are a lot of legal loops that you need to go through. The next point number 4, is like putting up rent on a property which is on mortgage. So as per process, I mean, we think that we will buy a flat and put that flat on mortgage, I'm sorry, on rent, and we'll earn rent side by side. We can pay the EMI with the rent that we are receiving. And this used to happen in India for many years, until recent changes in the taxing laws. So what people used to do is they used try to get tax benefit, showing that the property is their first property, and also they would get rent on that property. They would say that I am paying EMI of 20,000, 30,000, and they will also get rent of around 10,000, 15,000 on the property. So that loophole has been plugged by the government. So now you need to share your uh, rental details uh, with your bank. The next point, point number five, is rate of interest. That is very important because we know that there are two types of rates on which the bank will lend out the loan to you. One would be floating rates, and the other would be fixed rate. When normally the banking executive will try to explain you that the fixed rate are always more. In fact, it is more than the floating rate, and they will try to convince you that if you are going for a floating rate, when the rates will come down, your rate of interest for the loan will also come down. Trust me guys, this never happens. When you are in a floating rate, the rates will keep on fluctuating depending on various market factors like the price of dollar to rupee, the effect of inflation, and there are n number of factors that can affect the rate. So, uh, my suggestion would be never go for floating rate. And the banking executive will try to explain you that the interest or the principal is going down gradually. If you check the schedule that they will share with you after your loan is sanctioned, you will see that in the first 10 to 15 years, amount of principal that is deducted is very, very negligible. It is not at all uh, doing any benefit to you. And also they use a term called BPLR. So BPLR is actually the base rate at which the loan is sanctioned. It means that when you are taking a loan for in a floating rate, RBI actually gives money so that the bank could lend the general public money to buy house. So RBI will not give money to the bank for free. They will charge the bank certain amount of interest. The bank will again give the money to us to buy property with some higher interest. Say suppose RBI is giving State Bank of India money to so that it can distribute among its customers at 6%. State Bank will again add 2% of their charge, and then they will give it to the customers. So likewise, this actually keeps on increasing gradually. So there is no such thing as if you are taking a loan on a floating rate, the rates will come down anytime soon. It will never happen. The next is if you want to sell or give out your property on lease for a long time, say like 99 years. Normally in Salt Lake, we had that kind of process of leasing the apartments or houses for a very long time. So if your property is on loan, you cannot sell your property or you cannot uh, lease it to any third party. Even if, I mean, as far as the national bank goes, they will not allow you to do it. There may be some private banks, they will allow you to do it given the case that you bring up another party who will be willing to take care of your loan. The loan will get transferred to his or her name, but that process is also very difficult. uh, Point number seven, during the loan period, lender has the free access to your property for inspection. Inspection of your property will happen when you apply for the loan. Inspection of the property will happen when if you are buying a under construction property, the inspection will happen when your property is ready but it is not handed over to you, and also at the time of handover when you do the registration, there will be one more inspection, and there could be further couple of inspection happening to your property in the future days, depending on the discretion of the bank. So they have the, I mean, they even don't need your permission to come to the property and check the property, because they have the property papers and they have lended you money. And there is a difference. Point number eight is there is a difference between under construction flat and ready to move flat. What happens is there are a lot of cost that is attached to a under construction flat, such as it is mentioned in the next point, 3.5 to 4.5% tax. This tax is actually collected from the customers, because the developer or the promoter, it has been understood by the government that when the developer or the promoter is building the apartment or building the house, they are not gaining anything from the land, but they are investing money. So the land should not, I mean, there should be some sort of taxation on the land. So that taxation should come from the customer. In fact, the government thinks that they are giving, the promoter or the developer are giving you a service, and this 3.5 to 4.5% is actually a service charge. So this get attached to a cost of the flat when you are buying a under construction flat. But when you are buying a ready to move flat, it's like you don't have to pay this 3.5 to 4.5% tax. But there are other challenges, like say suppose if you are buying a under construction flat, it could be like 25 lakh, but when the building is ready and it is nice and shiny, the promoter might ask 30 lakhs. So more or less you are paying up um, to the developer some way or the other. The next point is registration and government taxes. Now, I will explain the monetary factor in the next slide, like I said before. But apart from the cost of the flat, there are other hidden costs, like the registration cost. Of course, we know there is a percentage on which the registration cost is charged. But again, you can of course do it online. There's a facility in West Bengal and the rest of the India to pay online registration fees. But you have to hire a lawyer, and most of the time the developer will insist on hiring their lawyer. Uh, so cost of the hiring the lawyer and the registration fees is like for me, 25 lakh flat, it took almost 1.8 lakhs in total, including 1.5 lakh for the registration, and almost 30 to 35,000 for the lawyer. The next point is like this is also an important topic, like the cover area and the carpet area. Most of the new buyers who are buying a flat for the first time, people who have been staying in rented apartment for all their life, so they might not understand the difference. When a promoter or a developer tells you that they are uh, giving you 100 square feet, please insist them what is 100 square feet. Is it a carpet area or is it cover area? Because when they say that cover area includes the space for stairs, the common space, the space where it includes everything. It's like the space. Of course, it is done through a mathematical calculation. 25% of the flat, but say if they say that we the total, I mean the cover area is 1,000 square feet, it means out of the 1,000 square feet, deduct 25%. 25% is allocated for the garden, for the common space, for the lift, for all the other facilities that they are providing you, for installing the space that they have reserved to install backup generator. So everything that comes around, is that 25%. The last point is mutation. I'll explain you what is BLR or mutation. So mutation is like when you have already registered for the flat in municipality. So you have to get the flat registered to your name. So what happens is like registering means you get the ownership of the flat. But what about the land on which the flat is built on? So in order to get, I mean, right now, this is a new law that came in that says that if you are a owner of a flat, you are also a owner of the land on which the flat or the house is built. So you also have to get the BLRO registration done from the respective authority. And probably the developer or the other people who have bought the flat along with you, they will be helping you out. But this is also important point to keep in mind, because if you don't, I mean, say suppose if you want to resell the flat, if you don't have a BLR mutation, some people, I mean, you might lose out on some customers. They will not uh, want to buy a flat from you. So it's it's a good thing to have a BLR mutation. All right, now coming to the figures, I have just given an example of how the cost and uh, how much money you should have in liquid or you know uh, in a fixed deposit form, which you can utilize before you go and buy a flat. So for here we have around 25. I mean, the cost of the flat we have calculated here is like 25 lakhs flat. And from bank, you might, I mean, everybody knows that from bank will not fund you 100%. No bank does that. So from bank you'll get maximum 80 to 90% of the amount. So that makes it like you have to have 2.5 to 3 lakhs in your hand to pay as a down payment to your developer. Apart from this, what else do you need? You need at least, you need to keep uh, liquid money for the registration of the flat. You can't actually pay it through credit card or anything. You have to pay it through bank draft or debit card. The other thing is the lawyer fees. This will also not be included in the home loan that you are applying. It will not get included in that. So 30,000 for lawyer. The lawyer will do the searching of the land to see if there is any dispute. If you are buying a flat, I think the promoter or the developer will provide you with the contact of a lawyer, but give or take, it's like 25 to 30,000 for a lawyer. Uh, the next cost is 3.4% is the of the base price of the flat in case you are buying a under construction flat. So for my case, like it came around 1 lakh to 1.5 lakh, which I had to pay over and above of the cost of the flat. And there would be some extra charges which once you book the flat and once you uh, the builder is confident that you will buy that flat, uh, they will disclose this information, like there will be cost for the generator. It might be maybe in your place you have a lot of power cuts, so generator is a must for these apartments. They will install generators. They will also have a landscape gardening. Maybe they will have a pool. If there is a pool, there will be extra cost for that. And coming to the interior of the flat, sometimes what the developer gives you is not a livable flat. It means that maybe in my case, like I had to get The kitchen top completely removed the stone slab that was there. I had to completely remove it and get a livable kind of kitchen in my flat. So that also put me back by almost a lakh. Or and I also had requested to give some extra plug points, some AC points. Mind you guys that maybe the as per your contract with your promoter or the developer, they will give you one AC point in bedroom. Maybe you need one more AC point in your drawing room or dining room. So that comes with an extra cost. And of course, whatever money you pay, there will be service charge and GST. So I have calculated, for me it was like 7 lakhs. And uh, apart from this, there will be interior decoration cost, that is of course your on your own. So in brief, that brings to the end of this slide. I'll just show you some figures to make you understand that how much price we are paying to the bank when we are taking a loan for a very long time. Uh, I have made the calculations here. So you can all go to this website and you can actually check out the figures. Like, say, suppose for 25 lakh flat with an interest of 10.5, and it may be 9, it may be 8. For me it was like almost like 10.5 or 11. So, and I had taken the loan for 20 years. So if you see that although the EMI looks quite less, like 24,000 per month, but if I go for 20 years um, loan tenure, it will be, I mean, the cost of the flat is 25 lakh, and the interest that I'm paying is even more. I mean, you can see from this pie chart that it shows that the cost of the flat is like 41% of the total amount I'm paying after 20 years, and after 20 years, the interest, only the interest part that I'm paying is almost double the price of the cost. So there are a lot of loopholes before you actually decide to go ahead and buy a flat. So that would be my experience, Avirup.
Sure. Thanks, Saurabh. So I think we can end it here today. We can probably see if we have any comments. We will get back to those comments later. Otherwise, we can make another video on radar, uh, doing some research and explaining how it works. So, does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, sure. So we'll wait for comments.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and please leave in a comment whatever, any other videos that you would want us to make. Let us know.
Okay, bye.